The Lakers did the impossible to some as they put the league on notice with their best win of the season, a total team annihilation of the defending champions, led by their stars with nothing short of an impressive performance. And Laker fans are getting the last laugh in this historic rivalry. What's good, y'all? I'm Okechi Apakama along with Hunter Pitcoff, coming at you super excited after this game for Lakers and Celtics, their rivalry renewed. And before we get into everything we have here for this game recap, guys, I just want to remind you to subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already, because we are less than 100 subscribers away from 5,000. So each and every one of you guys who subscribe to the channel truly help out, and we are ever so close to our goal. So hit that subscribe button if you enjoy this content. But Hunter, before we get into everything, how are you feeling after the Lakers just destroyed the Celtics, the defending champions?
Well, we don't have James Worthy on the show, Okechi, so gotta give them.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Hey, if you know, you know.
Yeah.
But any day, you can beat your crosstown or cross coast rival, and a historic rivalry, the best rivalry in the history of the NBA. And the Lakers come out on top. And the way they came up on top. A complete, you-know-what whooping by the LA Lakers. Feels good. I can't help but smile. We're going to get into how the Lakers did it, though.
Oh, yes. We're going to get deep into this one, especially because the C's take that L. The Celtics, they can hold that big fat L as they go back to Boston or wherever they're going. Who cares? Lakers win this one 117-96. Just like a full effort. And this was from start to finish. There was at no point in the game where the Lakers did not have control. And they really just from jump had a very good game plan from JJ Redick to really just do what they did from them. Just let's take a look at some of the stats just from the top players the Lakers had, as Anthony Davis was tremendous, holding it down as he usually does in the paint. 24 points, 8 rebounds. He had a couple assists. He had 3 blocks. LeBron James had 20 points. Didn't shoot the ball too well, 9 for 20 from the field, but he did have 14 rebounds and 6 assists. Austin Reaves was great with 23 points, had 4 3-pointers, 6 assists. Max Christie and Hachimura pitched in with 10 and 6 respectively. And then off the bench, Dalton, Knecht, and Gabe Vincent, who continues to start to just play well. He had 4 3-pointers in that one, and then Dalton Knecht had 3 3-pointers. So, Hunter, just going up and down. Just take your pick of who you want to talk about first, because it was just a truly great effort. Just start wherever you can.
I just think this was an ultimate team effort, and even JJ Redick highlighting that he thought that this was one of, if not the best game the Lakers had this season in terms of executing the game plan, and as well as what they did defensively. Now, the Boston Celtics, this is a team that averages 117 points per game, which I know scoring is inflated, defense is optional in today's NBA, but regardless of that, the Celtics are still, with that number, one of the best offensive teams in the league, and they have been one of the best offensive teams over the last couple of seasons. Of course, they are the defending champs for a reason, but defensively, I thought this was the game plan that JJ Redick schemed up and honestly outcoached Joe Mazzulla in this one. And what the Lakers did, they decided, what are the Celtics' strengths? Shooting the basketball and hitting a whole lot of threes from the perimeter. That is what the Celtics, that is their bread and butter in today's NBA. That is what has won them an 18th championship. But they said, we're going to switch everything, and we're going to leave Porzingis on island one-on-one. And even if it's Gabe Vincent, who's a foot shorter than him, or Max Christie, or Austin Reaves, whoever it is, we're not sending the help. We're just going to let it happen. And if you're like, all right, well, Kristaps Porzingis, who I think had 20-something points in this one.
Yeah, he cooked in that one.
He's going to kill you. But what the Lakers did was like, all right, we'll let him beat us, but we're not letting everyone else beat us, and we're taking the Celtics out of their game plan, because that is not how they run their team. Like, that wouldn't work against the Lakers, because Anthony Davis and LeBron James dominate in post-ups, and they're great passers out of it. Porzingis is not. So, for the Lakers to go with that game plan and really just focus on perimeter defense, which is the team that they suck at guarding the perimeter, the Lakers.
They sure do.
They were great in this one. Now, some of it is also just the ball bouncing away and the Celtics missing shots, but clearly the Celtics couldn't recover. They couldn't figure out another way to beat the Lakers, and that's why the Lakers were able to riot against them.
Mm-hmm. And just the funny thing that I see about this, because like they had a game yesterday against the Clippers, and they set out a good amount of their guys, in preparation. You're assuming for this Laker game, you think you're going to come out with a whole bunch of effort, but it really didn't amount to anything. As the basketball god said, "Head, ha ha," because you rested those guys the other day. And just looking at the Celtics stats, Porzingis, yeah, he had great game, 9 of 16 from the field, 22 points. But I think the big number there, he only had 2 3-pointers. Jaylen Brown who has shot poorly, actually. He had 17 points with 7 of 19 from the field, only had 3 3-pointers. Jason Tatum, who is probably one of their best players, and he had 16 points in this one. And he mostly got them in that third quarter there where he kind of just started finding a rhythm, but he really did not have a rhythm for most of the game. Didn't score in that first quarter, really. And then Drew Holiday and Derek Wright were pretty non-existent. And then off the bench, they didn't really get too much production from that team. They took 41 3-pointers. Do you know how many they made, Hunter? Only 14. That is obviously a bad shooting night from the Celtics, but then also just good on the Lakers to not only to be closing out to shooters. So like that's another part of this as well. So like not only are you giving up those twos that are contested, so what? But they were getting out to shooters, making these harder for shots. I saw a lot of guys close out. I saw LeBron James really playing with effort on defense, which is something he doesn't always do, especially here in year 22. So it was just really nice to see everybody commit to the game plan, stick to the game plan, and see it work out this well. This is the best win the Lakers have had all year.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about it off camera before we hopped on here, Okechi. Like, what is the Lakers' best win? I think both of us were like, this is not an overreaction. Going up against the defending champs, your long historic rival, and not only winning, but dominating the way the Lakers have. And a lot of the games the Lakers have won this year have not been dominations. And even when they have been, it's been typically against subpar competition. Celtics, they might not be as dominant as they were last season in the regular season, but this is still a defending champs and still one of the best teams. If not, you can even argue the best team in the NBA this year. And the Boston Celtics, a team that clearly is almost kind of like that Houston Rockets team back when James Harden and Chris Paul and all those guys were there, where they kind of like, they relied too much on the three-point shot probably, and that completely threw them off their rhythm. I think this is a team that's used to being attacked on closeouts and then dribble penetration, either get an open look or an open layup, whatever. But they took them out the game plan. They said, we're going to make you almost kind of run like 1990s, early 2000s ball with your big man in the post and go from there. And as a result, Porzingis played well. The Celtics' rhythm was completely lost, and they could not adjust to the Lakers' game plan. They couldn't adjust to the adjustments. That's typically what great teams do. The Celtics couldn't figure it out here. They couldn't play their brand of basketball. The Lakers did. Everyone chipped in. Everyone got involved. And like you said, Okechi, they took this game seriously, the Lakers. That was my biggest takeaway. They don't always take games seriously, but they took this one seriously, and they took the dub.
Yes, they took this game very seriously, and just like when you're led by your stars as LeBron and AD, and then Austin Reaves just had a tremendous effort, and then just from also the role players playing their part. Like I said, Gabe Vincent had a nice game. Max Christie didn't shoot the ball too well, but was very solid defensively. So just a lot of different things that were working for the Los Angeles Lakers, and just LeBron also turning back time, just doing some of the things that he does. Throwing down big haymaker dunks on the Celtics, and really getting up that Laker faithful, those Laker fans who haven't had too much to cheer for outside of basketball. So it was nice to see the Lakers get this big decisive win, and with good news because we have Jared Vanderbilt coming back on the horizon. So you're getting some reinforcements here for our next game coming up here. So a lot of positive things to take from this game and take into the future, really.
Yeah, I actually forgot about that too. The funny thing was the last game Jared Vanderbilt played was February 1st, 2024, and that was against the Celtics. That was the game where LeBron and AD didn't play, and the Lakers ironically steamrolled the Celtics in that one as well. So it would have been funny if he played in this one, Okechi, because it would have been like kind of like a one of those like 360 moments where it's like, oh wow, I'm playing a team that I last played against almost a year ago. But Vanderbilt, I mean, we talked about in our last video, guys, so definitely check that out. But Jared Vanderbilt, what he brings, and if he's healthy and can get back to what he is, this is something the Lakers desperately need. Like, he is an elite, and I don't say that lightly, an elite perimeter defender. He is someone who you can guard, who can go on the team's best player, and he's going to make their night a living hell. Like, he's going to make you work for it. He might even shut you down. The dude generates steals. He generates blocks. He doesn't foul very often. And then he's a junkyard dog. He will be arguably the hardest working player on the court at all times. And he's someone who can score 0 points in a basketball game. And this is rare in today's NBA. And you can be like, wow, what a great game Jared Vanderbilt played. So that's what the Lakers are missing right now in a guy like him.
And then them getting him back. And then if you include that with some of the guys, like I said, who were playing well, we got a nice Dorian Finney-Smith game against the Wizards. He didn't score the ball too well, but he was defending well against guys like Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. Like, that's the reason why you go after a guy like Finney-Smith, because to guard those bigger style wings. So now you are, and then also there's moments in the game where, like, I would see that, like, say, like, they were switching a lot, but Finney-Smith would switch onto the bigger man, but then if the ball was swung around, then he would be yelling at his teammates, say, hey, I got here. So he was being very important and active with his teammates, and then getting back to Tatum or Brown, whoever his primary assignment was for that possession. So that's what I really like. But let's talk about the future here, because the Lakers do have another game this week in this rivalry week, as the NBA is calling it. And can the Lakers close out rivalry week with 2 dubs, as they are going to be playing the Warriors? And Jared Vanderbilt was recently medically cleared to play, so there's a possibility that he can play in that game. But just other things as well, because I do want to get into a little bit about what Anthony Davis said about what this team could possibly need. But just first and foremost, about this Warriors game coming up for the Lakers, because they've had very 2 solid wins. Yes, one against a very bad team, and then one against probably one of the best teams in the NBA. So what can you take away from this and put into that game against the Warriors?
Well, unfortunately, Okechi, this is probably where we have to be humbled a little bit as a Lakers community, because one thing the Lakers have proven this season is they are consistently inconsistent. So it's hard to tell exactly what form of the Lakers you're going to get. But I will say this, because sometimes there's some tea leaves and there's some writing on the wall that kind of can dictate what kind of level of competitiveness you're going to get from the Lakers. LeBron, Steph, how many more moments in NBA history are they going to have together in their playing careers, playing against each other? Probably not that many in retrospect compared to how much they have already. So I think this is a game where LeBron and Steph are both going to lace it up, and they're going to compete at a high level, and I think they're going to bring the intensity out for both their teams. It's a Saturday night game, so I'm expecting a very competitive game. And so that's why, as a fan of just basketball, you're excited to watch this game, because you don't want to take LeBron, Steph, and their legacy for granted. And for what the Golden State Warriors do, they had a nice win against the Bulls, but the Bulls are a team that's pretty bad on their players at the deadline. But the Warriors have been a team that's been struggling recently, and so the Lakers need to capitalize. Definitely not an easy dub at all when you play a team like the Warriors, a rival, and Steph Curry's on the other side. You never know what he can game break the break the game hopefully shooting. But at the same time, the Lakers should be favorited. And this should be a game that, in my opinion, the Lakers should win.
Yeah, and I also believe that Draymond Green is not going to play that game because he has been dealing with an injury. And Draymond Green is important because he's the guy that usually either guards LeBron or AD. So, like, not having him, that's going to be a big thing to be missing if you're the Warriors, because if you don't have that guy to guard one of those guys, that means everybody else has to step up. You're talking about Andrew Wiggins, you're talking about Jonathan Kuminga, you're talking about Kevon Looney, whoever it is that's going to have to step up. But Draymond Green is one of one when it comes to defending those guys. So the Lakers can benefit from not having Draymond Green not play, and then also seeing maybe where Jared Vanderbilt fits into this equation here. Because it's kind of interesting how Redick's been running his lineups. Really, he's been going bigger recently, which is exciting, but also he's been going like really big at times. So like there's been lineups where Dorian Finney-Smith has been at the 2. There's been lineups where like Austin Reaves is the smallest guy on the floor, which is nice to have at times. And then just other lineups where you see Jackson Hayes up there and Anthony Davis. So where can you find these minutes for a guy like Vanderbilt before we get to the AD thing.
And we should say about Anthony Davis as well. He didn't play really in that Christmas game against the
No,
Warriors.
he
He
didn't.
had that injury, and so the Warriors kind of lucked out that he didn't play. But the Lakers also, it's like they can beat a team like the Warriors because they don't need the size to beat them.
Hmm.
However, when you do have Anthony Davis out there, throughout his career, whether it's in New Orleans or the Lakers, he has killed the Warriors. Like they don't have an answer for him. So I expect him without Draymond Green, like he should cook them. Like that, 80 should be dropping 35, 40 points against the Golden State Warriors, especially if they don't have Draymond. But in terms of Vanderbilt, um, I mean, he's not taking away Cam Reddish's minutes; those are gone. So
Yeah.
I think they're gonna bring him along pretty slowly, and then kind of see where he's at. It might hurt Dalton Knecht's minutes a little bit.
Maybe Jackson, I think.
Maybe they've been
Yeah.
running a lot of Jackson Hayes at that. I mean, I consider him before because like 80 is really the five.
Yeah.
The two of them. So it's worked though. I mean, two big lineups has definitely helped the Lakers. And the good thing with Jackson Hayes is he's not an A-level basketball player, guys. So do not misquote me. But he's an A-level athlete. Like Jackson Hayes is a top-tier athlete in the NBA. Like he's extremely athletic. That is why he will almost always get a contract with a team because some teams gonna tell themselves like I can fix him. I can it's like the toxic like relationship. Like,
Yep.
I can fix this. He's going to be great in our scheme, in our system. And so Jackson Hayes will get another opportunity, whether it's with the Lakers or not, next season when he's a free agent. So with that being said, that's why it's worked though, because Jackson Hayes is actually one of these bigs that can switch out onto smaller players at times and kind of hold his own better than most. And we know Anthony Davis can do it. So that's why they've had that flexibility, despite the fact that you can't really shoot the ball as well with those two guys out. You gotta make sure you have three really good shooters next to them in order to make it work. And against a team like the Warriors, with Vanderbilt coming back, I do wonder, are we going to see a little bit less of Jackson Hayes because they can go smaller against a team like the Warriors? In fact, they almost kind of
They
have.
kind of should probably.
They will take around the perimeter. They will test Jackson Hayes' lateral quickness and his ability to stay in front of smaller players.
So yeah, that's a very big thing. But also just like in totality, just like thinking generalized of the Lakers, because seeing that performance against the Celtics is just truly inspiring. And then just I just wonder what the Lakers can build off of that, because AD came out with an interview before that game with Shams talking about wanting to go back to that 2020 build, and the Lakers have been playing more two big looks. So like that kind of just gets us thinking, like if Rob Pelinka can get a deal done for maybe one of these bigs to get in here to help a guy like Anthony Davis, this can really liven things up for the Lakers, because if you can put in an effort like this against the defending champions, then who's to say you can't beat any other team out there if you have the right pieces around Bron and AD and Austin Reaves.
And that's kind of been the biggest thing that, you, me, Okechi, as well as really all of us here on Lakers Digest, not talking about the hosts, I'm talking about the community, you guys
Yes.
watching as well, it feels like the Lakers are a move or two away. They made the one move. They struck with Dorian Finney-Smith. That was a necessary trade. Losing D'Angelo Russell, like that does hurt you a bit because he's a really good shooter and playmaker. But Dorian Finney-Smith's defense and versatility was absolutely needed. And I think while he has not offensively quite been there yet, I think defensively you have clearly seen the impact. He has definitely been a massive plus for the Lakers on that side of the ball. With that being said, though, the Lakers, in my opinion, still probably need two things. I don't know if they're going to get both. They could maybe get one and get by. They need either a good big man who's got size and can legitimately play the five next to Anthony Davis or behind Anthony Davis. And then they need a guard who can play pretty good defense and also give you some playmaking as well and generate some offense. Now, the problem, though, is we're hearing with reports is that the Lakers are very, very reluctant to move Rui Hachimura. And while I like Rui, he's a good basketball player. However, when it comes to making a trade, guys, you need to give up something to get something. And the reason why D'Angelo Russell was the player dangled in all these Laker trade talks was not because he's a bad basketball player, but he was making the most money on the team, not named LeBron James and Anthony Davis, and he was an expiring deal. That's why he was included in all the trade talk. And ultimately why he did end up getting traded because the Lakers weren't going to re-sign him. So Rui's now the next guy who makes the most amount of money. And if you want to get Nikola Vucevic or you want to get, like Walker Kessler, and you can make the money work there, but or someone like Colin Sexton, Bruce Brown, just a couple names mentioned. We want to swing for the fences for Jeremy Grant. Rui has to be in the trades because he's making the most money of the guys you have to trade. So if the Lakers aren't going to want to trade him, I don't know how many more trades are out there catchy for them to make.
Yeah, I mean, but also just from like a logistics like standpoint, because yeah, we got word from a guy like Finney Smith who was on a minutes restriction, but like that's starting to get lifted now, so he's going to be able to play more minutes. So when you get to a playoff situation, LeBron and AD are going to be taking most of those front court minutes, probably more than 40 minutes a game. So you have to spread out those minutes evenly. So okay, if you're giving some to Finney Smith and then you're giving some to possibly Jared Vanderbilt, because you're assuming that he's going to get healthy at some point, then where do the minutes really come from? Because Rui Hachimura, yes, he's a starter right now and he's getting all these minutes, but he's kind of been playing out of position. Like we've talked about that some. So like it's not going to work because you need to play a backup five, but then also you want to play your forwards like Finney Smith and Jared Vanderbilt as well. So like push has to shove. So like there's not all these minutes that you can give around. So Hachimura kind of has to be the guy because it frees up those minutes, and then you can give more to Finney Smith, give more to Jared Vanderbilt whenever gets ready and right, and then give more to that hypothetical backup five, whether, Vucevic, Walker Kessler, Robert Williams, any one of these guys' names on the market that you would be giving those minutes to, and then just essentially you're playing bigger with those guys and not going with Rui Hachimura route that we've been doing here these past a couple of seasons.
Yeah, and here's the thing too, right? So the Lakers obviously they struck a deal to get Dorian Finney-Smith. They ship out D'Angelo Russell. All right, now the question is, Lakers still need like another guard, right?
Mm-hmm.
Would they realistically trade Gabe Vincent for Jonas Valanciunas if they weren't going to get a guard, in a different trade? I'm not so sure now because yes, Valanciunas, for example, just because money-wise, guys, Gabe Vincent 2 second-round picks for Valanciunas, that probably is going to get the deal done. So I don't know if the Lakers even make that move anymore because one, Gabe Vincent's playing better, but now it's like now you have no guards.
Yeah, you kind of need him, and you don't want to play Shake Milton either. So
yeah, like the Lakers are in a weird spot. It's like if they're not willing to trade Rui Hachimura, unless like something crazy happens and they trade Dalton Knecht or something like that. But even then, he's only on a rookie deal. Like Rui, if they want to upgrade the roster and find another big man or find another guard. And I mean, like, good players that are going to make an impact, Rui has to go. It's not I like him or dislike him. It just has to. The money, you have to trade him.
The money, the minutes, just all of those things are just working against Rui. But that's going to be us to see in the future because the deadline isn't until February 6th. So the Lakers still have some time to probably evaluate and make a deal by then. But we're both in agreement that they kind of got to make a deal. And so is Anthony Davis as well because he said that to Shams. So that's probably going to be it for this video. Make sure you guys comment, though, down below of what you guys think of this Laker game. Type in all of your expletives that we can't say here on YouTube about the Celtics because, oh my God, I'm going to be smiling for the next 24 hours now that they've got this huge win. And then just also another thing for us guys, there is still about 91% of you guys who have recently watched our videos who are not subscribed to the channel just yet, and we are pushing towards 5,000 subscribers. So if you like all of that Laker content, the Laker news, trade rumors, game recaps, just every and all things LA Lakers, you guys are gonna come right here. And I have been your host, Okechi Apakama, along with Hunter Pitcoff, and we will catch you guys on the next one.